First, there has been so much outrage over what I have branded the BBC cover-up of this weekend's protests. Perhaps one of the most shocking incidents was when the BBC reporter Chichi Ezundu was reporting on that terrible injury of that police officer who almost decapitated herself when her horse bolted after being attacked by protests, leaving her slamming into a traffic light. And this is how Chichi Ezundu decided to describe that incident.
The officer knocked herself off her horse, it bolted into the crowd and trampled a protester. Both are now receiving medical care.
She knocked herself off her horse. Nothing to do with the Boris bikes, with the glass bottles, and with the other sharp objects that were being chucked at these horses by protesters. Unbelievable. And of course, there was also their online headline, 27 police officers injured during largely peaceful anti-racism protests in London. Rightly pilloried, that headline. Can someone tell me the last time 27 police officers being injured was a peaceful protest? Insanity. So as a result of all of this, James Ujal, who is a student in Glasgow, has launched a campaign to defund the BBC, and it is gaining massive, massive momentum. James joins me now. James, tell me about what sparked this campaign. Was it this weekend's coverage, or was it something that you had planned anyway?
Hi there, Dan. Thank you very much for having me on your show. Well, ultimately, this thing really just came out of frustration. It was completely on a whim, as I mentioned in a video I put up on my Twitter. We've got one aim, really, and that aim is to ultimately scrap the BBC licence fee. It's a completely absurd, almost comical concept that if you went and told someone abroad about, they'd just laugh at you. But the key question is, how are we going to do this? Well, thanks to a YouTube video I came across many weeks ago by a chap called Chilly John Carney, I found a method that allows the British public to legally and peacefully watch television without paying a licence fee. If you head over to my Twitter account, which is at Defund BBC, that is Defund BBC, the pinned tweet, which is the tweet at the top, for those not familiar with the Bird app, will give you instructions on how to refund, cancel and make you exempt from any future licence fees. Simply fill in the 5-minute form and you're exempt for 2 years until you have to fill it in again. It's really that quite easy.
And in just 24 hours, this Defund the BBC campaign now has 45,000 followers. So it really feels like you have tapped into a public anger, I guess.
Yeah, well, a few of my friends had said the same thing. It's been a bit of a hectic time over here. I got many kind messages from strangers telling me to keep up the good work, etc. But obviously Twitter is Twitter, and I got some nasty messages as well, most of which were actually ridiculously amusing. I think I got one telling me to piss off back to Eton, which is rather funny to me as a state-schooled kid. You know, my mum's a teacher, my dad's a painter and decorator, so they were shocked at this whole thing. I still don't think my dad quite understands Twitter, to be honest with you, Dan.
And you have had some high-profile supporters as well. Lawrence Fox, the actor, has been backing this campaign and getting into all sorts of rows with BBC presenters as a result.
Yeah, so it was a really kind of shocking moment for me when Lawrence followed back, because I've been watching him since I was a boy, really, you know, on Lewis. And for me, that was just, you know, heart-stopping. But yeah, it was not just Lawrence Fox. I think we've had a few other people as well, like I think Kate Hoey shared something a few minutes ago. Toby Young and Douglas Carswell as well have been helping out. So yeah, the big names just shocked me, really. I think the Daily Express covered us today, which was you know, it's just really quite unexpected, because I really did make this account on a complete whim, just out of frustration, really.
And what makes a young lad who is a student in Glasgow get so angry about the BBC? What was it for you specifically?
Well, I think the main thing, Dan, is really, well, I'm going to come off here and completely declare my impartiality defunct. I'm a member of the Conservative Party. I voted for Boris. That was my first vote. And really, the issue is the BBC will regularly introduce their guests to their audiences without their political background. So we've had many occasions where, say, for example, a doctor or a teacher has made themselves on BBC Newsnight, for example, and the BBC has failed to report that they are, for example, Labour or Momentum activists. I think this is an absolute disgrace.
No, I completely agree. Good luck with your campaign. We will be following it closely, and please make sure you keep us updated. James Ugel, who is the director of the Defund the BBC campaign.